So what if I told you this? Your data is public, and I know everything about you.
Yeah, that's creepy.
It looks something like this.
Welcome to our second episode of the BTS Business Podcast. I'm your host, Frank, and today we have our very special guest. He's been doing YouTube videos for over 9 years. He has 2 channels, collectively over 300,000 subscribers, probably closer to 400,000 now. Jabril. So tell us about your channels. Tell us about your story. How'd you get started making
Man,
YouTube videos?
I feel carbon dated. Yeah, you know what's funny is most of the people that watch this video only know of my latest channel. So they're gonna hear like 9-10 years, like, wait, what? They're like, he's so old. Yeah, dude, thanks for having me. This is a pretty cool
Thanks
space.
for coming. Thanks for
I'm
coming.
quite nervous. It's a fancy place y'all got. I feel like I'm in a Beats One interview or something like that.
It's casual, man. I think your second channel, you just started about 2 years ago, right?
Yep, 2017, I uploaded the first video to that.
Okay.
It was so about 2-3 years, something like that.
So how'd you get started with your prank channel, and then what inspired you to?
So the prank channel was created because I was fresh out of high school, and I had a few friends. We all went to like a digital media type of school, like high school. And so we had all these skills to make videos, but we didn't really have like an outlet to put them. And then this YouTube thing came out of nowhere, and we're like, oh, dude, let's make videos. And the first question was like, what do we make videos about? And then we're like, well, what's easy and we can like do like in a week long production and like put stuff up. And it was just pranks, and they're funny and we enjoyed them at the time.
What was the first prank?
The first prank actually we did not upload. Well, actually we did upload, but not to the main channel. We went to what was it, Staples, I think it was. There's this Staples commercial where they'd be like, wow, that's a low price. So we went to the Staples store and just like yelled that over and over at a bunch of products. It was like the worst video ever, but that was like the first official thing we all did together. Yeah, and then the first official one we put up on the channel, we were parodying like David Blaine. So we went out to Mission Beach here in San Diego. Yeah, you can't go wrong with parodies, especially as your first video. But we went to Mission Beach, and then I played like a David Blaine character, and we used to have like the most unimpressive magic tricks ever. Like I would say pick a card, and they would like pick one, and I would like put it back on top of the deck, and like, is this your card? They'd be like, yeah,
You're
but
just hyping it up so much that it ends up being like, wait, that was so lame.
yeah, that honestly
funny.
is still one of my favorite videos, just for like how simplistic it was, and like because it was our first video, there's so much passion.
We should link that video in the bio. That's not his main stuff that he does now. So tell us about that, your software stuff. How did you start making your software videos?
Yeah,
And that's kind of like a unique niche. Like, did you know people were going to be interested in that?
So, yeah, I kind of did know that people would be interested in that. I knew there was demand for it because I did a lot of R&D before, research and development, before I started that channel. Because you have to realize at this point, I think I was like maybe 6-7 years in of trying to build a YouTube channel, and I had a little success with the prank stuff. But the issue with the prank stuff is that the audience, they're not really there for you as a person. And when that is like an attribute of what you do, it makes it hard to really grow a brand, right? And so like with all this knowledge and information, I did a lot of R&D. I'm like, well, what's next? And at the time, I was just writing a lot of software and making games because like when I was younger, I kind of dabbled with it and I really enjoyed it. But I stopped doing it in high school because it was like too nerdy and I didn't want to get beat up. But, you know, again, 7 years in, that's just what I enjoy doing. And at the time, I was watching a lot of tutorials, like how do you do this, how do you do that, you know, learning how to do this stuff. But what was missing was there wasn't someone that was taking these tutorials and putting it into practice. And so it's like, I'm going to be that guy, you know. And so, you know, just mocked up a bunch of different ways that I can go about doing it, sent out some pilots to friends and got some feedback and dropped the first one, just kept going, man.
That's awesome. So he spotted a gap in the market, and then he just pursued it, and it's worked out because your first channel, you've had it for about 9 years now, and you have about 60,000 subscribers. And this second channel you've had for about 2 years now, and you already have like 6 times as many subscribers as your first channel. That's true. Crazy. Were you expecting that? And also talk a little bit more about like your personality, like your approach, because we think it's like a unique like, personality. I like it a lot. It's different.
So the first question, did I expect that? I did expect something. What I expected, I never was really sure, because YouTube, you can never be sure. And then not to mention, I knew that what I was doing was like super niche in itself, but I try to make it as general as possible. And I'm still to this day learning how to do that, like make what I do general. One aspect of that is like, I learned that showing code, a lot of code is not good. You know, you'll have people that are diehards that love to, you know, they're engineers, and they love to do this stuff themselves too. But then you don't want to just like only cater to the audience, because it's such a small amount of people. Like when we're talking about as many people on the planet, right? And so I learned that, like, you know, if you want to reach a more general audience and do this kind of stuff, you have to take out the code, unfortunately. Even though it's one of my favorite aspects of doing the projects, it's like showing the different type of engineering solutions that had to be crafted to come up to this, you know, end goal. Anyways, yeah, so that's one thing. And then your second question, I forget. I apologize. You said,
just like your personality, like your...
Right. And so that also was a part of the R&D as well. Mm-hmm. Doing YouTube at that point, like 7 years or whatever it was, I learned that one of the most important things is like a fast turnaround in production time. Okay. And so it's like, what can I do that won't make production miserable, and I'll be able to always like work on something new all the time. And I had watched a video of some kid doing commentary over like Call of Duty 2. Like he just played the game.
It's the most random videos that get so many views.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's just like some kid in his bedroom just recorded him playing games like maybe 3 weeks ago, and it's just talking about whatever. Easily like 400, 500,000 views in a week. I'm like, dude, that is crazy. I wish I can do something like that. Like think about the production cost of that. It's you can literally film like 3 hours of footage in a day and use that for weeks. You know, how would people know? I mean, granted, they probably have to be good. I don't know that much video. But anyways, I seen that and I was like, man, if only I could somehow adapt that. And I was like, wait, I can. And so that's what the idea of like recording the audio first and then figuring out the visuals for it later came to be. Because I used to, before the computer science channel, I had like a little documentary type of channel where I would like just make mini documentaries, and it took me so long to read the script and then make sure I'm saying the stuff verbatim. I would have to retake. Like one time there was a take that I was doing, it took me literally a solid hour for one paragraph. It took me a solid hour. And so just like with all this information and knowledge, it's just like optimization really, as far as the style is concerned.
Okay. Yeah. So I guess that kind of translates my next question, but I guess you can kind of put more perspective on it, which is for somebody who's starting a YouTube channel or has already started, what's your number one piece of advice you'd give?
Ooh. This is probably my favorite question nowadays.
Okay.
Because I kind of feel like an old man, I kind of feel like a veteran in the internet space. Or at least YouTube. I can't figure out Twitch and TikTok. I don't know what the hell's going on there. But what I love telling newcomers is that the first thing you have to realize is that there are two kinds of arts when it comes to the internet. There's the art of the project, but there's also the art of the marketing. And you can't neglect either one. You have to pay attention to both, you know. It's the art of the project will help you. It will help you maintain and keep an audience, but the art of the marketing will help you grow that audience. You know, and it's like they exist on the same plane. They're not two separate planes. You just tug and pull. You know, you have to compromise, sacrifice. But the most important thing is just be aware of it and, you know, respect it.
Tell me a little bit more about the marketing side. What piece of advice would you give to somebody who's trying to like really grow their channel? They already have it made, but like you said, art and marketing. Yeah. You said they're together. How would you help somebody optimize the marketing to grow their channel? Like, what did you do?
It depends what the content is, but I think like one universal like piece of advice you can give across the board is like you have to be familiar with what's going on in your space. Like no matter if you do grilled cheese sandwich reviews, right? And someone does like the hot air balloon expeditions, like 2 separate channels, it's still important to know like what's going on in different spaces, you know, because it helps you see the trends, you know. But yeah, again, it depends on the content, on like what marketing advice I would give them.
Okay.
If that helps.
Is there any for somebody trying to do like a software channel and a prank channel, what like specific?
Wait, both at the same time?
No. I mean, because you have experience with both. What's your experience growing both? Like, I mean, you know the typical stuff, the thumbnails, the headlines. I mean, when did you like realize like, oh, I should start increasing the quality of my thumbnails? And how would you do that? You know?
So, you know, what's interesting about that question, you know, if you take the parallel of like software engineering and then prank, right? What's interesting is that the biggest difference between them is not even really like the thumbnails or anything like that. It's like who is watching this, you know, who is interested in this stuff. And I would say that these 2 audiences that I've once catered to are almost like parallel opposite, almost. Like there is some crossover there, but they're almost like parallel opposite. And so with that, you have to keep that in mind with like the stuff that you put into the content. Like for example, the software stuff is a bit of an older, more mature audience, I would say. The prank stuff is a lot more immature audience. So it's like you have to keep all this stuff in mind and make sure you add that stuff. And that's part of the reason why I stopped doing the prank stuff, is because the people that enjoyed that stuff were just like young kids and they just want to see like tits and ass, and it's just like I'm not into this, man.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that's the truth, man. Like we could sit here and try to mess around with thumbnails and headlines all day. While that stuff does work and it can optimize for your marketing position in the space, it really does come down to you just knowing your audience and tailoring your content to them. So I agree.
Without 100%, man, because I think it's like it's really easy to make a one-hit video, like a one-hit wonder, if you will, on the internet. But what's more important is like I'm sure everyone wants to sustain, you know, internet living. And what's more important is like you grow and maintain that audience, and you do that by being aware of like what you're putting into the content, not even like the thumbnail, whatnot. You know, that's how you grow it, but how you keep it is like what you're putting in the content.
Solid, man. So you said sustain an internet living. So how are just talk about some ways, you know, you've made money or that people can like, you know, a YouTuber wants to make money off of YouTube. My sister asked me that the other day. My nephew, I started a channel for him where I literally just got my iPhone and I shot him opening his little Cars gift on Christmas like 2 years ago. And then we forgot about that channel.
And be careful.
And then years later, 400,000 views on that video.
That's awesome, man.
And now she's asking me like, we're making more videos, and she's like, how can I monetize it? So how would you like, you know, let's talk about monetization of a YouTube channel. That's
interesting case. I would say be careful. Ryan's Toys Review is going through a crazy lawsuit at the moment,
Really?
and he's in trouble with the FTC. I don't know much about the toy review space, but I know that like kids content, they're like really strict on that.
Because they're having you like specify, is this a kid's YouTube video every time you upload a video, right?
Yeah, that's a whole other conversation we can get into.
But as far as the monetization of a non-kids YouTube channel.
Yeah, so this is probably the toughest question. So I'm speaking directly towards YouTube at this moment. YouTube, it's like, I think YouTube exists in 3 states. I think there's like, I've never labeled these before. I'm just gonna, whatever on top of my head. There's like poor man's land, which is like you don't make enough AdSense to barely even pay your gas, right? And then there's like starving artist land, where it's like sometimes, but you're not really sure. And then there's like big baller land, right? And big baller land is like one of the hardest places to get to, and even harder to stay there. But if you get in big baller land, you don't really have to worry about anything. If you get into like starving artist land, it's, you know, iffy some months, but you can cover that with sponsors and all types of stuff like that, like easily. And in poor man's land, that's a bit difficult. Yeah, it's a tough question. Do you have like any more specific questions? It's
So is it AdSense that you're saying that people are typically making most of their money off of?
Yeah. So
Okay.
so I was speaking when I was talking about like the 3 different spaces of YouTube. AdSense is what I was talking about.
So when
As-
somebody like clicks on the ad before the video, or
yeah, the way it works, they're constantly changing it. But from last I knew about it, the way it works is they'll play ads on front of your videos, or they'll put it on your video or next to your video, and they have different quality of ads. So, for example, Nike will pay a lot more than like Bounty would, for example, right? So if you get a Nike ad, someone watches it, you get, let's just say $1 full, just like get a full dollar, right? But if Bounty, they don't have a bigger budget, so they'll pay 30 cents, right? And they usually reserve the bigger ads, the more expensive ads for the bigger, I almost said artists. They are artists, the bigger YouTubers, right? And so that's what I mean by like big baller land. It's you get the premium ads, and it's really easy to just stay on YouTube AdSense and just like you're good with that. But the starving artist land, it's like not as good. Some months are better than others. You're not ever really sure, but you can always subsidize that with sponsors, in which that's a whole nother game. You have to like, it's interesting because it's like as a creator, you have to make sure you're taking care of your audience, looking out for them and whatnot. And there's like this big scandal with NordVPN recently where like everyone would just accept NordVPN sponsors, but I don't know the full story, but they were like a bit of a shady company, I guess. And like they had security breaches and like tried to hide it. And so, yeah, it's interesting. I think I said a whole lot of nothing.
no. Oh, that was good. And actually, this video was sponsored by. Nah, I'm just playing.
Oh, dude.
I got you.
Oh, dude.
Looks like I pranked the prankster.
My heart stopped for a second. I was like, yo.
So quality versus quantity.
Uh-huh.
Talking about the quality of a YouTube channel, like, I have to have specific camera gear, a specific laptop. I mean, we both know the answer to that, but just.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think it's like identifying the wrong properties of like what makes success. Like your camera is not one of them. For example, I film on my phone. Like every video I shoot is on my phone. It's not the best quality, but I get maybe 1 comment every 2 months on the quality of my content. And like, not to mention, Marquez Brownlee, he shoots like 8K raw.
That's ridiculous.
And then
man.
uploads
Those file sizes.
Uploads 4K. But the thing is, like, YouTube's gonna compress it anyway, so it's like, and no one's gonna watch it in 4K. I don't think like we have the internet speeds for most people to watch it in 4K anyway. So I personally don't see the reason to do it. But I think that last note on this is that if we're talking about video quality, I think that the only reason it should be there is if you know why you want it. Like if you have a reason, like if you're like a quality buff, like for example Marquez Brownlee, like he just naturally enjoys like high quality stuff, But if you're someone that doesn't even understand cameras, like what are you doing? Just use what's natural for you,
That makes
You'll be
sense.
fine.
That's
You'll be
good.
fine.
Yeah. So kind of going back to the prank stuff, do you still plan on making more prank videos, or are you gonna kind of transition away from that and go more into the software videos?
Yeah, so I'm for sure not gonna make like prank videos and be like, hey, check out my new prank. I'm definitely not gonna do that. But like, I don't know, it's somehow, some way, like a part of my identity now, and like those ideas still come up in my head. And so I have this video that I'm actually planning out that it has a prank element to it, but I don't know if I should label it a prank. Like, I'm definitely not going to tell people it's a prank, but I'm talking about in my head. Is it really a prank? Is it not? But the idea is simply, it's like I'm building software to fool people. So it's kind of like the best of both worlds.
Dang, so you kind of answered my other question of, are they going to overlap? Is there going to be software and prank video?
Definitely.
Which channel are you going to post that on,
Yeah, I haven't uploaded to the other channel in a very long time.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, the one time I did upload there, it was a lot of people that were like, oh, dude, I miss you. But yeah, again, back to what I was saying, it's like the audience there, they don't care about the person. They only care about what are you doing? Like, what is happening in this video? Like, you're not doing crazy enough. I don't care, Versus like what I'm doing now, it's more like I'm curious to know what this person is doing. And like with that, it's easier to build a brand,
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And last prank question, I swear. Craziest prank you've done?
Oh
on YouTube?
man, craziest prank. Craziest prank. I can definitely tell you the dumbest prank. The dumbest prank. I had this idea. This actually would have been a really good prank if my friends weren't just assholes. So I had this idea. Bear with me. It was inspired by Grand Theft Auto. All right. I wanted to make Grand Theft Auto in real life. All right. And the plan was this. We take my car, we park it somewhere, and I act like I'm hijacking the car in front of a bunch of people. Right? It's not a smart
Not
idea.
wild, but okay.
It's not a smart idea. But my contingency plan was, listen, guys, this is my crew. I'm like, guys, the second I drive away, you guys make sure to run up to these people and tell them it's just a prank, bro. Bro, it's just a prank. All right? They're like, okay, yeah, okay. So we execute. Park the car, walk away for 30 minutes, come back in a different attire, and I start jacking the car, right? And people freak the hell out. They're like, oh no, what is a black guy? He's still in that car. What is it? What's going on here? And then I'm just like, get in the car, drive off. And I'm like, oh, dude, that video is going to be so good. And then, like, I return to the scene, and everyone's screaming at me. And I'm like, wait, what? What's going on? So you stole that car? You stole the car? I called the cops. I was like, no. This is just a video. We're just pranking. And then like, what? Yeah, we're just pranking. There's cameras right there. And like, oh, I'm sorry. We already called the cops. I was like, oh, dude, shit. Right. So cops come, and then immediately. Actually, the first cop that came, he was super cool. He was like, hey, just an old guy. He looked like he was about to retire. He's like, hey, what's going on here? I was like, sir, I'm sorry for wasting your time. Me and my friends were just doing this stupid idea. Didn't mean for it to escalate like that. He's like, yeah, cool, whatever. The second cop comes, though. This dude did not get paid enough, right? He was like, hey, what's going on here? Who's still in the car? And then everyone's like, or actually, I was like, it was me listening to just a joke. He's like, you stop right there, turn around. He put me in handcuffs, threw me in the cop car and whatnot, and talked to everyone, and like drove me off. And then, like, somehow I talked him out of like not taking me to jail. He was like, if you take me to your car and show me that it's yours, I'll let you go. So I was able to do that, and he let me go. But he chewed me out, man. He kept on telling me about, I don't making no money for this, and you just wasting my time. And then I chewed out my friends because they thought it was funny if they just let everything unfold. Definitely not the smartest idea, but.
The prank reversed. The reverse prank.
I still have the photo from that when I was in the back of the.
How long ago was that?
2014, maybe. I don't know.
2014.
Yeah. Okay. So what if I told you this? Your data is public, and I know everything about you.
Yeah, that's creepy.
That's a video idea.
Okay.
And I'm gonna prove it.
Okay. I mean, there is a lot of data that's public.
There's a lot of data that's
social
public.
media. There's some obvious data that's public, but
And that's actually part where the prank part will come into, because I'm gonna use that data against them.
dang, you're just taking this to another level, man. Okay, cool. I like that idea. So, for YouTubers out there who are trying to get sponsors, how do you go about doing that?
They come to you. The good ones, you go to them, but the general ones come to you. But that's not a good enough answer. So to break that down further, it's like you have to just focus on growing your audience. I mean, when you grow the audience, they will come.
Okay.
I mean,
So supply and demand.
just basic, you know.
Yeah,
They
that
got a
makes sense.
product they want to put in front of the audience. You know, you worked your ass off to build that audience. Everyone wins.
Yeah, you just position yourself in the marketplace as a valuable asset to them, and you pretty much sell yourself. through
But
that.
there are other alternatives. You can reach out to other companies and say like, hey, I have this thing, but make it very clear what you're offering. Make it very, very clear. I have a friend actually that he got a free round trip flight from some airline. He just said like, hey, I have this YouTube channel. It wasn't even that big. I think she had like maybe 25,000, maybe 30,000 subscribers.
Oh, wow, okay.
And she was like, hey, I have this channel. I'm trying to go to, I think it was Japan or something like that. I'll just plug airlines. So you might give me a round trip flight. And I'm like, yeah, sure. Free flight. You know what I mean?
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Hey, that's a really good example, actually. So talk about like how would you turn your YouTube channel into a business? Like, these YouTubers start off with, just basically shooting with their phone, maybe increasing their production quality, promoting other people's products, making your own products. I don't know.
Yeah, so like this is such a open question. I mean, there's unlimited tactics that you can do to turn your YouTube channel into a business. I mean, I think the obvious thing that most creators go towards is like t-shirts and stuff like that, just because it's easy. There's a lot of companies that are willing to work with you.
You have merch that you sell?
I do not. I'm a bit of a like against the grain kind of guy, and like I see how many t-shirts are slanged at the end of videos, and I'm just like, I think I'll try something else. It's to my detriment, to be honest. Like
that's refreshing.
Hopefully, it's stupid, but I don't know. It's just I've always been that way. I don't know. But anyhow, there are many different like routes you can take to turn your YouTube thing into like a sustainable business. But for me, it's always been like I want to do something bigger, and I think that's part of the reason why I did the computer science stuff to begin with, is because I don't think I'll be doing YouTube forever. I think at some point it's possible that what I'm doing becomes irrelevant, especially when you look at what's going on TikTok. I'm just saying. And so the whole like computer science channel helps me get an actual skill for the real world, right? And then my hope, like what I'm doing right now, it's like I'm living carefree. I'm making all these projects that I find fun, but also compromising a bit, making sure that people want to watch it, the marketing side of things. But at the same time, I'm learning how to I'm getting a skill, and I'm also exploring like how to make a actual product for production. And then my hope is that at some point I'm gonna come across a project that's so fun, and I think it's like can be so rewarding if I finish it, that I'm gonna like focus on that and then turn into the next thing.
Yeah. So have you ever thought about like app development for yourself and casting out on it?
Yeah, I every day come up with at least like 11 different ideas, and then I'll like try it out. And these are often ideas that like I can't make videos about because they're like too technical or like not interesting enough to convey that to an audience. But every day I'm looking for something that can do that for me. I'm actually developing a video game that's like a long-term project at the moment that I'm going to retail at the end of when I'm done developing it. I think that's going to be like my first attempt at something like that. But long term, I have a couple of like app ideas that I want to try and develop. The only issue is that like apps aren't made in like a month. You know what I mean? Like even you look at Instagram and Facebook, like the state that they're in now is like years of development, and it's like to take away time to do that takes away from what I'm currently doing, what currently pays the bills. So it's like it's a weird like push and pull kind of thing with time. But ultimately I do want to be somewhere in that place.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, it's a beautiful thing to like have your own channel nowadays, because business owners back then would almost have no way to test the market. They would just start a business and pray for the best. Am I on the best street? Is there a lot of foot traffic coming by? But nowadays you could just keep testing different videos and growing your channel first, creating that demand, and then you bring the supply after, which is what you did. You had your demand there with your viewers, your subscribers, and then now you're gonna develop your video game. So it's a smarter way. It's a smarter approach to business nowadays. You don't have to waste a bunch of capital up front and be in debt. So that's awesome.
Yeah, man, it's really interesting. I think that nowadays it's like I would argue probably a few years ago that I don't even say people, like for software and games, like YouTube is a perfect place to kind of like grow an audience before a thing is done, right? But I think that for anything now, no matter what it is, if you want to sell t-shirts, if you want to sell earrings, if you want to sell cups, like YouTube is a perfect place to build that audience. You know what I mean? And just to reply to what you had just said about like testing I forgot what you said, but where I'm going with this is that there was this gaming company actually that built up their entire fan base by releasing like development logs of their game. Like traditionally, it's like a few months before a game's release, they'll work on marketing, getting billboards and advertisements and commercials and stuff like that. But there was this team that just released devlogs, like from the beginning all the way to the end. And it got this audience super hyper to purchase this game, and then released, and like, I don't know how much they made, but they made a lot of money.
We were talking about like making like channels about different things, and you said it could be about anything. I just kind of want a quick conversation about that, because I think it's funny how people are literally making videos on reviewing fast food. Like you can make a video on anything.
Yeah.
Like, people are going to McDonald's. Oh, the new hamburger's out, and they're trying it, and people are watching this stuff. It's crazy.
Yeah. I actually have like a secret formula to that. I think I have a secret formula, right? And this came about when I found a channel that was, I think they were like reviewing RC cars, something like that. And I was like, of course, they have a community. Why wouldn't this exist? And I think here's what I think is going on with that, right? The internet is a place where you can find anything. Anything. There is an audience for everything. And it's a matter of like realizing that people don't know a lot. So if you can take, it doesn't matter what it is, if you can take that thing and make it interesting, you'll get people to watch. I'm talking about anything, right? It's like, let's just, any random thing, water fountains. I bet you there's a water fountain expert that if you were to sit him down right here and talk to him, you would be like, dude, that's amazing. I never knew any of this stuff. Now imagine if that person made a YouTube channel. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like right here, I wouldn't watch a water fountain channel. But if that guy made it.
Yeah, seriously. I mean, maybe there's plumbers out there who want to learn more about water fountains, and they watch one video, and this guy just has a really good personality, and they fall in love with this guy, and boom, they got a loyal subscriber.
Yeah, and I would even take it a step further. I would say, like, I don't even think it's about personality, honestly. It's about, like, what are you passionate about? Like, what is it that you lose sleep over? You know what I mean? Sure, you work this job, maybe you get paid good, but what is it that keeps you up at night, you know, that you think about? That's what you're passionate about. If you're interested in making internet content, focus on, like, digging into that. You know what I mean? Because if you have the passion about it, you will show a perspective that the common person, even experts, won't even like view it from that angle. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. It's like your own fresh perspective, because everybody's different with your own passion into it. Makes sense. So you brought up TikTok a few times. What are your thoughts on TikTok in general?
My thoughts on TikTok, from what I've seen, I'm definitely getting older because I can't relate to a lot of the popular stuff on the platform. But at the same time, if I were smarter, right, I would learn what makes those creators popular and then try and use it to my advantage. I think that's like, I don't know, my best parallel is rappers. Like, the smartest rappers do that. You know, I think it's the reason why Snoop Dogg has had such a long career, is because he, like, looked at what Katy Perry was doing. I don't know what his opinion on her music is, but he was like, hey, let's try and figure something out and work together. They made that California Girl song, you know. I think it's the reason why Drake is, like, the biggest rapper ever for so long, is because he reaches out to smaller artists that have a little, like, buzz coming up and features them and stays relevant, you know. But yeah, Bite just came out. I'm on Bite already, so.
Nice. That's always good to explore. I have two thoughts on TikTok.
Okay, let's
either
hear
go left or right.
Okay, let's hear it.
I think left is either it's a complete fad, it's just the new Vine, and it'll die. Or right is that it is the new Vine, but the way they capitalized on it was correct, and it's just pure entertainment. But I've seen people use it, and people grow fast on it. So you could still have your niche, because Gary V has his own I use him as an example a lot, but
Yeah.
I'm sure there are other like, you
Got
know,
a Gary fan in here.
yeah, definitely. I'm sure there are other like rappers and artists on there that are using the platform too. And I think that it kind of indicates that where the young mind is at right now, and that's entertainment. Because kind of going back to my nephew, you know, we all know that kids grow up with iPads nowadays and they're on YouTube for entertainment purposes solely. So their mind is always stuck on entertainment. And I think that's where TikTok provides that platform for people to be entertaining, but it's up to that person to either just be entertainment, like your prank channel you were saying, or be entertainment with a flavor of rapping, or be entertainment with a flavor of business, or be entertainment with a flavor of insert your niche here, and then gain your following there and learn how to translate that onto YouTube, onto Instagram, or what have you. But I also think there's just a big possibility that's just a complete fad.
Now, my beef with TikTok goes a little deeper than that. Let's imagine Van Gogh, right? Artist of I don't know what year, was on TikTok in Byte, right? And let's say he put up a piece about the Hong Kong protests, right? Well, if it's a Chinese-owned app, that's considered propaganda in their eyes, or whatever the case is. And like, no, we don't want this here. It's gone, you know. But Byte will let them keep that up, right? I think that, like, at the core, art, like, has no bounds. And if I have even like the slimmest chance of like an opinion or like a piece that I have being blocked or censored, I'm just like, no. I mean, you have that with every platform regardless of the fact. I mean, everyone has their rules and their community guidelines, stuff like that, but I don't know, just as simple as that. I don't know. It's also not a super fleshed out idea. It's just like that gripe I've had with TikTok. So
Okay, that makes sense.
yeah.
Is it spelled Byte, like as in B-I-T-E?
BY.
B-Y-T-E.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
I don't know why I'm giving all this free press to the Byte. Like, I just put up one thing yesterday.
No, that's cool. I mean,
Shout
we
outs
were
to
talking
Byte.
about, shout outs to Byte. Sorry, TikTok. Nah, TikTok's cool. It's different flavors for different people.
Yeah, it is what it is. I mean, again, if I was smarter, I would figure out what makes TikTok tick and what makes the popular creators popular, and I would use it to my advantage, but I'm also a bit lazy.
Yeah, now we'll just have to see if those users get frustrated with the limitations and discover Byte. And maybe Byte will put some ads out on a TikTok. No, I doubt TikTok would let them. But yeah, anything else you want to elaborate on that?
I don't even know how many creators are actually like facing those limitations. I do know of a couple of cases of them, but that's enough for me, you know. I think overall it's probably just kids like, I'm dancing today, you know, like there's nothing really controversial about that, or here's a flower, you know what I mean? But for the few that do, they're going to be on Byte.
Yeah. So talk about where people can find you. Like if, you know, people want to learn more about you, about
You
your
want my
channel,
house
like your
address?
Instagram, you know, people want to send you some free products or whatever. I'm just playing.
You can find me on the internet. I am trying to own at Jabrils, Jabrils, but I don't own that yet. So you have to add an underscore for now. You can find me on that across the board. YouTube, Jabrils, that's no underscore. I just realized it's very confusing. I need to own all the consistent no underscores, but it's not easy. There's a Jabril Scott. I'm coming for you, man. But Jabrils, if you look up Jabrils, you can't miss me.
Yeah.
Basically. Okay. I don't know if I have anything else to promote. Oh, I do have something actually. Wishlist my game on Steam. It's called Staggered. Do it now.
Cool. You have a link for that up already? Or?
Yeah.
Cool. We'll put it in the bio.
Hell yeah.
Awesome. Well, thanks for watching. Thanks for being part of the show. And be sure to follow us on social media. My name is Frank, and we'll see you on the next episode.
Spinny top. Boom. Boom.
Well, I have a wonderful electronic invention I want you to see.
It looks something like this.